I do have crow's feet. Kind of a game changer, cakey and yucky. I do not drag it. More is not more. I do not swirl it because every wrinkle is exemplified. I'm going to share with you guys a few tips that I do while I'm doing my makeup so that I don't accentuate the dryness on my face and the maturity of my skin. I have rosacea. I have very extremely dry skin, and I'm in my 50s. And so that combination sometimes makes it difficult when you're applying foundation, when things settle into those fine lines, when you've got dryness that's flaky, but you want to cover up the red. It's just really a bad combination. So I've learned a few tricks over the years of doing my makeup that I wanted to share with you guys. So number one, let's start with a really good foundation. You want very moisturized, exfoliated skin. You don't want to have the extra flakiness on your face if you can avoid it. I can't talk about putting makeup on if I don't talk about a little bit having good skincare. So that's number one, has to be done. My first tip is to use a hydrating primer, and I really do recommend using a primer when you've got dry skin. So after your moisturizer, your SPF, all that stuff, go ahead and put a primer on. And I like either the True Blend from CoverGirl or the Laura Mercier Hydrating Primer. Both of these are almost empty, so I'm gonna have to go buy some. This is high-end, expensive, but amazing. This is drugstore pricing, and I also think is amazing. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna repurchase this, just because if there is a drugstore one that's a really good dupe, I'm going to stick with it. And this one acts just like this one does. So I think I'm going to just go buy this one again. So I put that all over my face. And then a thing that I've just started using, which has been kind of a game changer in my makeup, is I started using the NYX what is it called? Hydra Touch Oil Primer. And I was amazed by this. Oh, this thing is so oily. The way I use it is I put a little bit in my hand, and then I strategically put it in my worst dry areas, which would be for me around my cheeks, above my, like right between my nose here, around my chin a bit, above my lip, those areas that I just get really flaky. So I do the most there, and then I put it a little bit on the outside as well. Now, this is one of those products that more is not more. I went a little crazy and I thought, you know what, if it works well, let's add a little bit more. And that day, I felt like my makeup was just falling off my face. So not a good look. Just go a little bit at a time and see what level your face can handle. But it has been a game changer. My face looked illuminated, looked moist throughout the entire day. And for me, that is amazing. So very excited about that. So number one tip, use a really good primer that is moisturizing. Number two, choose a foundation that is very moisturizing, but go as light as possible, both in its coverage and the amount you use. So first of all, in its coverage, I like a medium coverage foundation, not a high coverage, and I even like it to the low end of the medium. My skin obviously has rosacea, as you guys know, a lot of you know. If you're not new to my channel, you know that. And so I get areas of my skin that definitely have to be covered. But I am not on the whole school of thought that I'm going to blank out everything on my face. I think that when you are in a mature age, doing that just exemplifies the wrinkles. So you might have whited out, or not whited out, if you have blanked out the things that are on, if I have blanked out the things that are on my face, okay, so I have no rosacea showing, but now I look older because every wrinkle is exemplified. That's not the look I want. The lighter foundation is good. You guys know I have done a whole thing on my favorite foundations, so go check my other videos out for that. I do recommend going light on the amount of foundation you use. You can always build, but you don't need to use so much. The more you do, the more you have to set it, the more powder you gotta use. All of that stuff just makes your wrinkles stand out more and it makes your dryness stand out more. So less is more. You can always build. Number 3, I don't know. I shouldn't number things because I always forget. The next one. Do not use a brush to apply your makeup or even your hands. The reason is when you've got really dry skin or rosacea skin, the more rubbing can make it red. And so therefore you don't even know what your face is because you've made it all red. It's going to die down after a while, but now you've just applied all this makeup to cover it and you really didn't need it. The other thing is if you have dry skin and you've got any flakes or dry patches, what's happening is you are putting foundation on and you're rubbing with a brush or you're rubbing with your hands, and makeup is getting underneath that dry, flaky skin, and it just makes it look cakey and yucky on your face. That's my very scientific approach, cakey and yucky, but it doesn't look good, bottom line. So what I do only is I only use a sponge, because a sponge, first of all, you've moistened it so it's not dry. It's helping blend everything out, and you're pouncing it. You're not dragging it across your skin and creating friction and causing all the redness and the dryness to pick up that you don't want. So only pounce with your sponge. And sponges, there's so many. A lot of them are amazing. Find the one that you like, the texture, the density, the hardness of it, all of that. Find one that you like. I really like the Real Techniques. The Beauty Blender is great, but in my opinion, it's overpriced. I've used it. I don't think it's any better than this one. So, one thing I forgot to tell you guys. Before you put your foundation on, put some concealer on the problem areas that you have around your face. So you can see here for me, I am putting some concealer on my rosacea marks. Those aren't pimples, that's rosacea coming out. And the redness on my cheeks and things like that. I'm gonna go ahead and put foundation over that, so it's gonna blend it. When I've put the concealer on, I take a smaller sponge, as you can see there, and I just kind of diffuse it so it doesn't have harsh lines. I don't really worry about it being completely blended because my foundation is going to go over it and it will blend it out beautifully, so I don't have to worry about that. The next thing I want to do is to set my makeup, and this is the problem area. This is where it's really hard for people because you want to set it, you don't want it to go gather in on those fine lines and your wrinkles, but you also need it to cover up those areas that are problems. So it's just this horrible combination, but there are some techniques that do help. First of all, less is more when it comes to powder. Use extremely sparingly. What I do is I only put powder in the areas that need to actually have powder, and I don't put it anyplace else. So as you can see here, I am putting a small amount in the cap, and that's a Laura Mercier one. I'm blending it in and I'm hitting off the excess. Then what I do is I take a sponge and I smooth out any areas underneath my eyes so that I don't have it gathered there. You don't want to settle it into the wrinkles. You want it all smoothed out of the wrinkles and then set it. So get them all out. And then I take my brush, and this time I do use a brush, but what I do is I only pounce it into the wrinkles. I do not drag it. I do not swirl it. I do nothing but pounce it into it. As you can see, I'm using a sponge where I kind of pull the wrinkles out a little bit. Don't pull a lot. Just pull a little bit. You don't want to cause more wrinkles by your pulling all the time. And pounce it into there, and then just let it sit there for a little bit. And I do that around my nose, around my my smile lines, and just any areas that you have. I also do it above my forehead so that all of that is all powdered, but very little. I do as much as I need so that everything is set, but nothing more. I have no powder anyplace else on my face. I don't have it on my crow's feet, which I don't really have a problem with things settling there. I don't know why. Maybe they're just not that thick now, or not thick, deep. I don't know. I don't have it there. So I do have crow's feet. I just don't have settling there. It's odd. But you guys know your face. I don't put it in any of those other places because I just do not need the powder happening there. So, and I'm going to use setting spray. We'll get into that in a second. So that helps things settle as well. The next thing that helps is using as much cream products as you can. As you can see here, I am using a cream blush, and that's just one of them. There's many on the market. Find one that you like and the color that you like. That one is Flower Beauties, and I believe I am in that one's, I think, cinnamon. Yep, that's cinnamon. And I really do like this cream blush. It's wonderful. Use a little bit and add more to it. But again, you're using a sponge and adding it in less powder. Then the next thing you can see I'm using is a contour for underneath my cheeks. And I'm only using, where is it? I'm using the NYX Wonder Stick. On the other side is a highlighter. I don't even use it. I don't like it. But the contour stick part I love. And I just use that, and again, a sponge to just blend out that one little area. Keep things light. You don't have to go crazy, but that works. Now, do I use powder? Of course. You guys can see I am using powder to do some bronzer and things like that. I know that there are cream bronzers. I'm just not very good at it. I'll just admit it, I'm not good at it. So I would like to be, and I may try more, but every time I've tried, it's been a train wreck. So I'm sticking with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I really do like this. It doesn't seem to accentuate the dryness, so we're sticking with this. The next thing I do after everything is done is I use a setting spray, and I really have been enjoying, and you guys know I've talked about it a few times, the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. This stuff actually has some pretty good ingredients in it. It's non-drying, so that is important. Find a setting mist that does not have alcohol in it. And guys, if you have any questions, be sure to ask those below. If you guys do something that is a game changer for you in your makeup with your dry skin or mature skin, please comment below and let us know. Let me know if these tips were helpful to you. That always helps me to know if I'm doing things that you guys enjoy hearing. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. God bless.